Welcome to Lead Pods, the official leadership podcast from USMB for pastors and church leaders, where our goal is to increase our impact together.
Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 101 of the USMB Lead Pods. My name is Matt Erzman, and again, thank you so much for being here. And thanks to many of you reached out to me or you commented online as we celebrated our 100th episode last time. Thank you for all the kind comments. Thanks to our friends over at the Christian Leader and USMB World for some kind of extra spotlight on the podcast the past few weeks. That's been a lot of fun. And of course, thanks again so much for you for listening, for keeping this thing going for so long. I'm so grateful we can keep this going even after that monumental threshold. So thanks for joining us once again. Well, in this week's episode, we have two guests with us today. I'm talking to Daniel Rodriguez, who is the Central District Minister in USMB land, and Kelsey Ensz is also joining us. We had Kelsey's husband, Nathan, on several episodes ago. They're up in Oregon, leading an MB church up there. Kelsey and Daniel are on the planning team, the group that's working on the USMB convention coming up here in July. And we wanted to take some time just to hear from them to kind of give us an inside scoop on what we have to come this summer for those of you who plan on attending the convention in Omaha. And look, I'll just be open and honest up at the front here. Part of our goal with this episode is just to convince you to sign up. It's going to be a really great week together, and I hope a bunch of you listeners will choose to join us. So for much more about what we can expect for the convention and maybe some plugs of why you might want to consider going, let's take a quick break to hear from a sponsor, and then we'll get to our conversation with Kelsey and Daniel.
MB Foundation is pleased to be a sponsor for the USMB gathering in July. We value the opportunity of gathering together with other national MB family members to be encouraged, challenged, and engaged in the mission God has for us. We believe it is through biblical financial stewardship and generosity that we can live as salt and light in our world. Join us at our workshop, which will serve as a launch party for new stewardship education resources. We hope you'll join us for a great gathering in Omaha. MB Foundation is committed to providing biblical financial solutions through planned giving services, championing stewardship, fund management, loans, and investment certificates. We are available to serve you from our offices in Hillsborough, Kansas, and Fresno, California. To learn how financial stewardship solutions can benefit you, visit www.mbfoundation.com or call us today at 1-800-551-1547. MB Foundation is pleased to partner with USMB to bring you this episode of Lead Pods.
All right, friends. Well, today I'm excited to talk to two guests. We've got two people with us today, and we've got one job. And our job today is to convince you that you need to come to the convention this summer, which I think we've got a pretty easy job. But today, joined by two friends of mine, Daniel Rodriguez is the Central District Minister. He's been there since 2022. I think he's a pastor for 12 some years before that. Daniel, you've been on the show before, so welcome back. Good to see you again, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be here again and share this time with you and the USMB family. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Great to have you with us, Daniel. And also joining us today, first time on the podcast, Kelsey Ensz is joining us. Kelsey is the office support for Kingwood Bible Church in Salem, Oregon. And we just had her husband, Nathan, on just a few weeks ago. So Kelsey, it's your turn. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks. He set a high bar, and I'm excited to be here as well.
Kelsey, you and Nathan have been at Kingwood since, I think, 2017. If people didn't hear the episode with Nathan or they don't know you, can you just share a little bit about you and your family at Kingwood? And I hear you have a side hustle of a jewelry business. Is that right? Can you just tell us more about you and what else
Sure.
What else can we get to know you, Kelsey?
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Nathan and I have been at Kingwood, like you said, for about 6.5, going on 7 years here. And prior to this, I always say we were the youth pastors for 17 years, though he was the youth pastor and I was the wife. But we really value doing ministry together. And we both graduated from Multnomah Bible College. And I wanted to be a pastor's wife. And so I'm super excited to be a wife and a mom and do ministry with my husband, even though I'm not the one getting paid. I do all the things. I think Nathan mentioned in his podcast that he went on 70 retreats over his time of youth ministry. And I think I went on like 64 of them. And wow. We just brought the kids and we just do ministry as a family. So I love being here. And I say, sometimes I'm like, oh, we're the pastors at Kingwood. Oh, actually, we're not. That's Nathan. But I love doing ministry here together. And so I'm just involved in different ways here at Kingwood doing ministry. So that's like the church part of me. And then, yes, I do have a little side business. I call it a hobby business because I get paid very poorly, but I do it mostly for fun. where I make metal stamped jewelry. So I don't know if ladies might know more of this, but if you see a necklace with like a word stamped on it or something personal, that's kind of what I make. So yep, I do that and I enjoy that. It's about 20 hours a week doing jewelry. And then we have 3 kids. Our oldest graduated from Tabor and he's at home right now until he's ready to leave again and start adulting. And then our daughter's a sophomore at Tabor, loving it. She's studying ministry. She's really thriving out there. And our youngest is in high school here at a small Christian school. And so that's a little bit about myself and my family.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Nathan was really quick to say that you guys are a ministry couple. He said that you guys do a lot of ministry together, and I think that's awesome. I love how you guys are doing that. That's great.
Yeah, thanks.
And Daniel, again, we've talked to you before about being in the Central District, but remind us what all is on your plate as a district minister. And I know you cover a lot of ground. There's a lot of churches that you're overseeing and that you're working with. Can you just remind us about that?
Yeah, so the Central District, we have 39 churches over 8 different states. So, for the amount of territory, it's still a low number of churches, small percentage, but a lot of territory to cover. So it's been great. The first year as a district minister, one of our goals with my wife and kids was to be able to visit other churches. So we accomplished that. So that was good for us to be able to get to know the churches and their context and, seeing the people and the facilities. It just changed your perspective when you hear a name of a church. You can kind of put some faces to that church and a little bit of the context. So that's something that we tried to accomplish the first year. And now, building more relationships and trying to develop different programs so we can be a resource to the church, to the local church, and to the pastor. So that's kind of what has been going on in the Central District. We have a continuing education program that we're helping both pastors and lay leaders to get some training and Bibles and theology and those kind of things. And so that's been one of the things that I think has been working out really great. People are getting to know each other by sharing those classes and meeting once a week and, getting together and talk about the Bible and getting to know each other. I think that's incredible. So that's been great. Yeah, I'm here in Omaha, Nebraska still. We call Agua Viva our home church. I was a pastor there for 12 years. We kind of left so we can give the new pastor room. So the new pastor, Pastor Rosenberg, came in and he's been there for a year now. And so we came back a little by little. And, Pastor Rosenberg was gracious to say, no, you guys are welcome here. And so that's been working out really good. So we're happy that we could stay in that church. So we're not there as much as we want to, but when we're in Omaha, we try to visit and be somehow involved in the church. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, yeah, so you guys are both on the planning committee for the USMB convention coming up here in July. And I know, Daniel, you're not really hosting us, but you kind of are. It's your neck of the woods. And so we get to come to Omaha and see your stomping grounds. So Kelsey, I just briefly got to meet you at the last convention and I got to meet you and Nathan for the first time. And we had a nice time chatting. So let's just start here. Like for people who maybe they haven't heard about the convention or they've never gone before, what is it and why should they consider coming? Kelsey, maybe I'll start with you.
Okay. So I think the convention, maybe it's changed along with like time. Like in the past, I feel like people maybe went to convention because it was a big family reunion and they got to take off time from their normal job or the farm and come out and see all their cousins and their relatives again. But I think like the way that MB has grown and there's a lot more just diversity of different kind of cultures and jobs and people in ministry, that it's changed a lot from that kind of feel. And it's more of a time to find out what's happening in the MB world, what's happening outside of your own little neck of the woods. And it's a great time to connect with people. So I think there, of course, there's business to be taken care of. And that's always, some people hate business meetings. I don't know, I'm kind of weird. I've always loved business meetings. I think they're amazing. I think they're so fascinating. And it's a time where people can bring up concerns or joys or conflict. And I just think it's really important sometimes just to get things out there. So there's always business to cover, but then to make it more palatable, it's not business the whole time. There's wonderful speakers, great breakout sessions, just a really way to connect. So I would say maybe that's kind of what convention is and why you want to go. There's booths with workshops, and like you can walk around and learn about the different ministries of MB. So I think it's a really great time to learn and to be challenged and grow. So those are some things about maybe what it is. And why I went to convention the first time was because we were new to the MB world. And we didn't really know a lot about what it meant to be Mennonite or who the Mennonite brethren were. So it was really helpful to learn a little bit more about who we are, what we stand for, what our values are. So that was a really great chance to go. And yeah, I'm not sure if you asked a different question, I can talk about something else, but that's kind of what it's about there.
No, that's great. So yeah, I know you guys were at Kansas City. Was that your first time to go to one of those before?
Yeah, that was our first time to go to a national convention. We'd been to smaller ones on the West Coast, but this was our first time to attend a national convention.
Cool. Awesome. Daniel, is there anything else to add? Had you been to one before Kansas City? What else would you add about the importance of these things?
Yeah, no, I've been fortunate enough. The first time that I attended a national convention, it was here in Omaha. So that was a while back. And that was very special. I think I was on my second year as a pastor. I don't remember exactly, but just an opportunity to catch up with other pastors, other leaders, and get to know them a little bit better. As a pastor, mainly for pastors, I think we're always busy in our own congregation and trying to do ministry in our local context. And so it's rare when we have an opportunity to meet other pastors and kind of in a more relaxed way where we can talk, share ideas, and share some of the things that are going on and have that opportunity to fellowship with other pastors. I think that's one valuable thing that I think we can all get from a national convention. So I will add that to what she said about, coming together as a family and just being together in the same room. And yeah, we might have some different ideas, and we might have some things that we're different culture, different context, but we can still learn from each other and have that time of fellowship. And I think that's great.
Yeah, it is great. So you mentioned earlier, Kelsey, you kind of were joking that, it used to be kind of this big family reunion where you'd see cousins, and the convention kind of used to be kind of a smaller family feel. And now as our churches have grown and we've diversified a little bit, it does have a different feel. And you were kind of getting to that too, Daniel, when you were talking about when you're visiting churches in your district, that they look very different church to church, state to state. Mm-hmm. And even the three churches represented here in Omaha, Oregon, and Kansas, our churches all look different. But I know that at the same time, a lot of things are exactly the same, right? We have a lot of the same struggles, a lot of the same joys, even though our context might look different. So has that been your experience when you guys were at convention last time? Were you able to have some conversations with other leaders and kind of commiserate over similar issues? Did you find that to be true?
Yeah. So, I mean, just getting to know the pastors, and, we share ideas, and I think always the main question comes when we're having discussions and like, so what is your context? I think that's the first question. And like in USMB, we have, the city churches where you have a large city and they're doing ministry there. And then we have a lot of our rural churches, so small towns, and even like in the middle of the fields, we have churches that are like in the middle with rich history. And so the challenges are going to be a little bit different. I think that the main goal that unites us is that, yeah, we want to make disciples. We want to preach the gospel of Jesus. And so we have that opportunity to share ideas like what's working on your context. What are some of the challenges that you're facing? What are some of the, the hot topics that are going on around because of the way that the culture is and the way that things are going on in the world. So just having that perspective from other leaders and other pastors to share those ideas. And even I remember I was sitting at a table with one pastor from Oklahoma, and a rural area in Oklahoma, and he was sharing just a little bit of the church and the struggles. And I mean, I might not remember a lot about what he was sharing, but every once in a while I remember and I pray for him. Some of those challenges. So even those connections that you make and you remember and you pray for them, and I'm sure that he remembers and he prays for me as well. Mm-hmm. So that's what family does, right? Like we come together, we what's going on in your life. We catch up a little bit, and then we have that opportunity to carry that with us, and we go back to our context, but we can still be praying for each other. So I think that's something that I love about conventions, is that connection with other people.
I think for convention, there is a recommended hotel that you stay in where the conference center typically takes place at, though there's options to stay at other places. Nathan and I have always chosen to stay at the hotel where the convention takes place, because then you can eat breakfast in the morning and you just kind of go out to breakfast and you see who's there. And I think one year we had breakfast with one of the retired USMB pastors, and we just got to talk to him. What was it like for you to do ministry here? What was your latest ministry position? And just to learn and to hear his heart and just his love for the USMB churches. It was exciting and invigorating, and to see him still loving the Lord and serving. And then we go at lunchtime and you have a break, and we sat outside for lunch and we talked with the pastor from Arizona, and he's younger than us. And it was really fun to hear, well, what's happening in Arizona, and tell us about what your church is like in your city, like they're in the downtown. And it's just so much opportunity to find anyone doing anything anywhere and just learn from them and hear about how ministry is in their context. And then you can take and glean things that you might want to implement in your own church, or like Daniel said, just to get to know people better, how you can pray for them. It's really an exciting time to just broaden your perspective on different ways that God's working in the world. And it's really great.
Yeah, that's great. And Daniel, we kind of mentioned this earlier. We kind of breezed by it, but you're kind of hosting us in a little bit, since it's here, or it's going to be in your backyard in Omaha there. So can you tell us, like, how is the MB Church in Omaha going? What's kind of what can we look forward to when we get to come see your area here in just a few months?
Yeah, so there's a little diversity here in Omaha with our MB churches. So we have two English speaking churches and two Spanish speaking churches. So Agua Viva was the church that I was pastor of, Spanish speaking church, and then we have Manantial de Agua Viva, which is another Hispanic church, and then we have two English speaking churches, Stony Brook Church and Faith Bible Church. So that's the churches that are here in Omaha. We're not that far away from each other, and still there's plenty of room for churches to make disciples. So that's great. Omaha, it's a growing city. It's been growing a lot more. New companies are coming into town, and Amazon, it's everywhere. So they're building more Amazon facilities and Google facilities and that kind of stuff. So there's plenty of people that needs to hear the gospel. So we have four MB here. There's plenty of different activities you can do here in Omaha. We have a great zoo, which it's great always to go and look at God's nature and just walk. And even if you bring your family, there's plenty of do there at the zoo. And Omaha has been kind of developing a new downtown area where it's more family friendly and with different activities that you can do and stuff like that. So the hotel that you guys are going to be staying at, I think I'm going to stay home. I'm not sure. We'll see. But it's downtown Omaha, so it's going to be like a 3-minute walk to downtown and enjoy some of those activities that they have down there. July is usually warm, so it's perfect weather. And I remember people taking a hike or going on a walk when we were in Kansas. So there's plenty of that to do here in Omaha as well. There's a lot of bike trails and museums and things like that. So I think besides being a convention and talking with other people, I think there's going to be fun activities outside the hotel that you can still do. So if you're afraid that you're just going to come to convention and get stuck for 3 days at the hotel, that's not what's going to happen. I think there's plenty of opportunity for people to kind of even take a break from people, and maybe you want to take a hike, by yourself, and just think about all that you've been learning and hearing about, and so that's another opportunity. So I think always we invite people to stay an extra day, a Sunday, so they can go visit some of the MP churches. So you have 4 different options that you can visit those churches and just kind of learn from from their context and be and worship together with them. So
Yeah, I love the chance to get to know and visit with other people and learn from each other. I love that. And I'll be honest, I love hotel sleep. Like there's no sleep like hotel sleep. I sleep so good in hotel. I'm already looking forward to it. It's already on my radars.
Yeah.
it's a really nice hotel. So I think you're gonna enjoy it. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. And Kelsey, something else I wanted to ask you about. You've got a kind of unique perspective since you are a pastor's wife, but you're also on staff at your church. I know pastor's wife, if there's any other pastors' wives listening, there's a variety. Some people are super, super involved, kind of like you are. Some maybe prefer to be more behind the scenes and not be in the spotlight so much. Is there anything else you would add about being a pastor's spouse? Has anything else on that part of your life that's been helpful with networking with other spouses?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I know one thing I enjoyed about the convention and looking forward to this one is I was in a Zoom cohort that was offered by the USMB, and I was in one for pastors' wives. And all the pastors' wives in this cohort, we've met probably for 2 or 3 years, and we're going to start again. And the group is always changing a little bit, but the different wives have different involvement in the ministry. Some are really involved. Some have positions in the church. Some are not as involved, or some are busy raising kids or homeschooling or just different stages. But it's really great to get to know these women over Zoom, and then to come to convention and meet them in real life was super fun last time in Kansas City. So that was really fun. So I don't know if not all pastors' wives are involved in the Zoom groups that are offered, but if they're not, they're welcome to look into them to join one. We're starting again soon, and there's just value in community. And even if you're not involved, we all understand our husbands and what they're experiencing as pastors, and we all kind of see the same impact that it has on family life or marriage life. And so I think it's really great to have the chance to meet other women and just learn about what life is like for them. Are you involved in ministry? Why or why not? What do you do instead? If, are you really involved in your career? Do you take care of your parents? Or, just to learn and get to know people is really great. I love the chance to get to know people, hear their stories, talk to them, build friendships. So I don't know if that exactly answers your question, but I think there's a place for all pastors' wives. And I have talked to a few, and they're like, oh, we never could come. We have 4 kids. It's so far away. But there is a great kids program. And so if you want to learn more about that, I think information will be coming out soon. But the last one in Kansas City, they had a kids program, and all the way up through high school age. And so the high school kids met together, and they went and did activities, and they had a hangout space, and they just did really fun things in the day. And then there was a childcare program with kids activities, and just really well organized. And it just, the women I knew that had their kids in there just really felt blessed by it. And it was fun for everyone. So there are ways for families to come to convention and do really well.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you. That's really important. So another thing I wanted to talk about, since you guys are both on the planning committee, honestly, I don't really know what all that means. So did you all help with any of the speakers in the workshops, or what all does the planning committee do? Can you fill me in?
We have a big advantage of having Donna as the kind of the one that leads everything, and she's just awesome. So I feel like we don't get to do a whole lot because she has a pretty good idea where we need to go. So we just kind of agree with some of the ideas that she has, and because she's doing a great job of planning all these events, But yeah, with Don Morris kind of brought up the names for the speakers, and I think the USDFL kind of just go over their bios and some of the theological things and the theme that they're going to be speaking of, and those kind of things. So that kind of had a process that it goes through before we announce and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, and like we have different areas that each of the members have different assignments and things like that. So like I'm working with the area of worship. So I'm trying to figure out the local churches here, the MB churches here in Omaha, that they can work together to facilitate worship and those kind of things. I know Stony Brook, they're probably involved with the with the childcare and the youth part of the convention. So that's a little bit of what has been going on with me being here local in Omaha. Donna came last fall, I think. And so we went to different hotels and trying to see which hotel had, the space that we needed and the facility and enough room for the workshops and all that kind of stuff. So we figured out that the one that we picked, it was probably the best location wise and because of all the room that we're going to have available for workshops and we keep talking about fellowship, but one of the reasons that we picked this one is because it has a large place where you can just hang out and talk and visit. So that was another thing. So that's a little bit of what has been on my plate, being here in Omaha, being the local pastor here. So that's my involvement. I mean, there's much more that goes on that I think Dana does a lot of that stuff too. So
Yeah, there is an aspect of the convention where tucked in between sessions, we get to hear testimonies from just real people. And so one of the things that we did on the planning committee was just throw out names of people that we know. We all are in a little bit different circles and different communities. And just to throw out names of someone would be really great to hear from this person. They really have a testimony of God work in their life this way. And if you're at convention before in 2022, we got to hear from a wide variety of people about how God worked in their lives. And it's exciting to think about doing that again and just hearing from different people. And so that's one of the things that we did as a planning committee, is throwing out names and people that we know that might do a great job of sharing testimonies. And kind of the same thing too with leading workshops. What's something that someone would want to go to? They don't have to go to workshops. It's not what you're here for. But what's something that someone would find interesting and worth their time to go over and attend this workshop or learn about this subject? So there's some ways we got to put a little bit of input in for the planning committee. And then like Daniel said, a lot of it was Donna and JL having these great ideas. And we just say, yep, that looks great. We heard that looks fantastic. So they made the job really easy for us.
So the last several episodes of the podcast, we've had the speakers on so we can kind of get to know them a little bit. Is there anyone in particular that either of you are really excited about, or is there a workshop that you're looking forward to, or what's kind of one of the top things on your list as we're getting closer and closer? What are you looking forward to the most?
I'm really looking forward to hearing from Natasha Crane, the apologist in 2022. We had Hillary Ferrer. She's an author and a speaker, and she was also an apologist. She wrote the Mama Bear books, and it was fantastic to hear her as a speaker and then to go to her workshop. And the workshops are smaller amount of people. And so just was really personal and relevant. And I appreciated the chance to ask questions and hear from her. So I'm just hoping for more of that. The same as a mom. I think it's really valuable just to be aware of what's happening in our culture and to stay relevant on how we can help our children navigate just all the things that are thrown at them. So I'm looking forward to having that time with the apologist. So I'm also going to have the opportunity to teach a workshop with JL. So I'm looking forward to that. We're going to talk about prayer and have a prayer workshop. And we're going to learn about bedtime prayer with our kids and praying scripture over our kids. And we're actually going to take some time during the workshop to just stop and pray for our children. So that's something, a little plug, but I'm excited about being able to participate in that way. That's something new for me in the USMB world that I'm looking forward to.
No, I think both speakers, for the pastors sessions and for the convention, I think both are great speakers, and I think we're gonna get a lot out of their teaching and going into scripture together, and also the workshops. I think we did put a lot of work trying to connect the theme of convention with the workshop. So I don't think any of the workshops that you pick and go to, I think there's just going to be a benefit for your life and ministry. So I'm looking forward for all of them, but unfortunately we only get to pick like 2 or 3. So either one, I think, we have a great family. We have great pastors in our family. So some of the names that we pick, I think they're really good at speaking into some of the topics that they're going to be speaking. So I think that's another great opportunity for this convention to be something beneficial for your life and ministry. So I'm excited for that. Yeah.
Earlier on, Kelsey, you mentioned that I forget how you worded it, but you kind of look forward to the business part of these meetings.
Yeah.
I know.
That sounds terrible, doesn't it? But that's actually kind
No, I love it. It means you're in the right place. That's great. So obviously, one of the big things will be hopefully the plan is to be introduced to the new national director, which is going to be big news. But is there anything else we need to know on the business side of things ahead of time? What else is on the agenda, or what else might come up in those business meetings?
wow, that's a great question. Not sure I have the answer to that.
It's a curveball.
I know, but I do know that they at the convention last time, we all downloaded this app and we used it for communication and workshop information. And there was some really hilarious competition on there to get points for things. And I think that there was a little bit of trouble with some voting using the app last convention. And I think those kinks have been worked out. So I'm looking forward to the business sessions, maybe working a little bit more efficiently, combining paper technology and working into moving more digital. So I don't really know what we'll be covering exactly, but I'm optimistic that it will happen a little more smoothly than last time.
Nice. Awesome. I forgot about those app competitions. That was funny. Okay. Yeah, we'll see how that goes this year. So awesome. As we begin to wrap up, this, I'm kind of throwing you another curveball. This isn't maybe something that we knew we were going to talk about, but I think I'd like to hear from both of you just the value of being in a denomination. I'm curious just to hear your thoughts about that, because I think, church trends kind of come in waves, and I think I think it seems like in the past, I don't know, handful of years, there's been this trend of the non-denominational churches, and there's obviously some pros and cons I think that comes with that. But being a part of one denomination where we can all come together for things like this, I see so much value in it. Do either of you want to talk about just the value of being in a denomination, or anything else you want to add about that?
Yeah, well, I think USMB is more of a conference of churches than a denomination. So there's a little bit of difference with that. So a conference of churches is just all the churches that voluntarily want to be in fellowship with other churches. That's kind of the main idea. And so we believe in the local church having a lot of authority on being autonomous and having authority over their own decisions. And yet we come together as a family and we come around and we said, what is unifying to all the churches, the confession of faith. So it's a little bit different. And I think that's one of the values of USMB, that we have those values, and we consider ourselves, this big family of churches, and we look different and we have different contexts, and yet we can still work together with the same goal, which is to preach the gospel of Jesus. So I think the benefits of it is that you're not alone. I was just reading an article today, and they were sharing about five reasons why pastors burn out, and one of those reasons was isolation or being lonely. So I think in the same way as the church, having other pastors, other churches around you is just a sense of unity, a sense of you can ask help, a sense of maybe by myself I cannot accomplish something, but with other churches we can accomplish something together, or we can do ministry more effectively. So in my mind, that's what one of the advantages that we have and being part of a conference, just to be able to reach out, to have other people like us around us that we can work together and come alongside and just help each other. So I think that's the big benefit of having this family.
Yeah, I agree with Daniel about how the USMB is a conference of churches, not necessarily a denomination. And I know those are just probably semantics, but I think about a conference of churches is more churches coming together because they choose to, because they're seeing that even though we might have some variety in where we land on what might be denominational differences, we're choosing unity, and we're choosing to put some things that some denominations may consider major distinctives, but in USMB is choosing to make some things maybe minor and allow for different churches to hold positions, but we're choosing to come together in unity and major on the things that are major. And that allows for, I think, really beautiful cultural differences. We have Congolese churches, Hispanic churches, Ukrainian churches. We have churches a church in California is going to be different than a church in Oklahoma. Like
Right.
it just allows for just a broader perspective on how God's working and what he's doing in the world. And I think that's really, really great. Maybe a distinctive between a denomination and a conference. And, and we hold each other accountable, which is really great. And that's something I think that convention allows for. Are we getting too spread out or too wide in our values? Do we need to bring things back in and stay unified? Another part of a value in belonging to the USMB conference, I think, is having so many vast resources available. We came from a different conference or denomination of churches before this one in Kingwood, and we had no idea what was going to be available to us as part of the USMB. There's the MB Foundation, which provides financial resources, and there's the NCC, which does, service projects all over the world, and there's youth internships, and everything in the USMB has acronyms, and I can't remember all of them, and I'm going to get them all wrong, but there's relief, and there's grants, and there's just so many resources available. And that's one thing I think at convention that's really great is you can walk around and these different places, the colleges, Tabor and Fresno, and they have little stations set up, and you can just walk around, I don't know, a dozen, 2 dozen, and just learn about, I didn't know we had a historical society. You want to learn more about Mennonite history? Well, go talk to Peggy at the Mennonite historical, and your mind will be blown. Or you didn't know you could set up a retirement account? Like, yes, we have resources to help you. You can have scholarships to send your kids to college. It's just really exciting to just have so many resources available. And Mennonites might have a stigma of being stingy or holding their resources tightly. But when you go and you meet these people, they're generous and they are loving and they're kind, and they just really want you to know what they're doing, and they really want to be available to help you. So that's one thing I think is a great value as being part of this conference of churches.
Yeah, really well said. Totally agree. Well, let's begin to wrap up here. Daniel and Kelsey, thank you both for your time on the committee. First of all, I know that I'm sure there's a lot of hard work that goes on behind the scenes, so thank you for that, and thank you for your time today. Looking forward to seeing you both coming up soon. July's going to be here before we know it, so I'm looking forward to seeing you both there, as well as everyone listening. As we begin to close, anything else we didn't talk about you want to make sure we hit today? What else do we need to know?
The food is going to be really good.
That's important.
Sometimes you just you kind of got to know it's kind of about the food. A lot of the price of convention, kind of honestly, it's to cover amazing food. So to have all these days not to cook, you don't have to, change your sheets. You can, I don't know, not that I ever have, skip a workshop and go to the pool, hypothetically, like with new friends that you made. Just saying, it's just a lot of fun too. It's just can be really fun. So just want to put that out there.
Just encourage people to make plans to come and be part of that. I think that's just gonna be great. Bring your family, bring people from your church. I think it's just an incredible opportunity to get to know more about people in the USMB and also learn more about USMB. So.
Very good.
And plus, Omaha is a pretty nice city. So
awesome. You're not biased at all, are you?
No, I'm not.
Awesome. Yeah, we have great lineup of speakers and workshops, and I'm really grateful to hear, Kelsey, you have good food. That's good. I trust your taste there, so thank you for that. So, well, thanks again to both of you. We'll look forward to seeing you in July. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Would you like to receive timely news in your email inbox? C-Link is the online bi-monthly email newsletter featuring news and stories compiled by the Christian Leader editors. C-Link will help you stay up to date with what's happening in our national family, districts, agencies, and partners. Sign up today on the Christian Leader website at www.christianleadermag.com.
Well, Kelsey and Daniel, thanks again for your time today and for your work on this committee. And our other friends, Donna Sullivan and J.L. Martin, got a few shout outs in there as well. So thanks to them, and Don, Connie and Janae, all the USMB leaders. I know putting on a conference like this is a really big deal. So I know they're putting a lot of work in, and it's going to be a really great time. So I hope you will, again, take advantage of the opportunity. Head over to usmb.org if you'd like to learn more or sign up. I encourage you to do that. And hey, I'll be there. So I'd love to say hi and catch up a little bit if you're able to make it this summer as well. Okay, well, let's go ahead and wrap it there. Thanks again so much for listening. Have a great week ahead, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time here on Lead Pods.
Thanks for listening to Lead Pods. Make sure you don't miss an episode by subscribing to our show wherever you're listening today. Learn more by visiting usmb.org. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll see you next time as we learn more practical tools to increase our impact together.